I swear, we have the best of luck whenever we visit a city we haven't been to in a while. There's always like a festival or 2 or 3.
We wanted to show you the square right now and just kind of do our intro there, but there's a huge rollerblading competition going on. These are the kinds of weird things that you can never seem to plan for in Europe. Tons of people are out, music is everywhere, which is probably why we're over here, because we wouldn't be able to speak and let you hear us. A lot of food trucks and stuff like that. Yeah, there's always something going on in Italy.
I don't think in my life I've ever seen a rollerblading competition. And there's like a ton of people here. Like it's huge, it's like a big deal.
Yeah, I didn't know that people still rollerbladed. I thought they stopped in like 1994.
The most license plates we've seen are Slovenia, Austria, Croatia. We saw some Serbia, Romania.
Bulgaria. Yeah, this is a weird part of Italy that kind of sits in between a few other countries. And as a result, you can go to Austria if you wanted to, Slovenia really easily, Croatia really easily. There's a ton of people, like Mariana said here,
Yeah.
but if you ask most people, name some cities in Italy, they're gonna tell you Milan, Rome, Venice, Florence, but they're never gonna mention Trieste.
Trieste is a very captivating city that stands apart from the typical Italian experience. It blends Slavic, Germanic, and Latin cultural influences into its rich history and architecture. Tucked away in the northeastern corner of Italy, it offers an intriguing mix of coffee culture, literary heritage, and stunning seaside vistas.
I think one of the other things that people don't tell you when you come to Italy is Italians have a weird kind of obsession with American food. So a lot of towns and cities, if they have food festivals, they'll always have these American barbecue style restaurants and food trucks. These are super popular all over Italy.
Vern, what do you think? How does this compare to other Italian towns we recently been to?
I think that the architecture is really old so far from what we've seen. I mean, I'm looking over here this way right now, and there's a lot of that modern, really ugly, brutalist style architecture. But here and near the plaza, there's a lot of really old, like 1800s style architecture. This is the stuff that I love when we visit Italy because it's just much more pleasant to look at. I don't know what happened in the 1960s, but Italians started building these really ugly buildings that look like they're built for like prisons or something like that.
Trieste was one of the first Italian cities we visited when we moved to Italy, and now that we lived here quite a few years and are a bit more well-traveled, it definitely compares more to like Vienna and Prague. We made our way to Café San Marco, a cafe that has been a local staple since 1914. It's the ideal place to enjoy a quiet coffee and feel the pulse of the city's rich literary history.
Yeah, I'm not really regretting getting this coffee. It looks kind of cool. It's one of their specialty coffees.
Do you remember what it was called?
I do not. Because
I'll put it down below.
Yeah, we'll put it down below. But I got something here called a Cubana Artigianale, and I'm kind of regretting not getting the same thing Mariana has because that looks amazing.
Is that like an apple strudel?
It kind of looks like it. Let me see. I'm going to taste it.
So because of the location we're at, that's actually one of the popular desserts in this region. It's like the apple strudel. You would think we're like in Austria or in Munich, but no, we're still in Italy.
It's not apple.
It's not?
It's not. It has some kind of sweet, some kind of fruit in there, but mostly there's like a walnuts or something like that that comes through really strongly. Super, super good. Very sticky.
Is it iced or cold?
Hot. Very hot.
Hot? Okay.
Honestly, it kind of tastes like a small cappuccino with a little bit of, I don't know, chocolate inside, something like
Really?
that.
Let me try this.
Yeah.
Oh, that is extremely hot. Oh, that is a very strong coffee. That is extreme.
It's probably like a mini espresso. I mean, a mini cappuccino, I think is probably better. I kind of like these really cool old cafes, but one of the things I can't help but wonder is how old are these chairs? Because as soon as I sat down on this thing, I started feeling it creaking and shifting. So hopefully the chairs are not also over 100 years old, because after a few more of these things, I'm probably gonna be on the floor.
The coffee and pastries were perfect. We even grabbed a bag of coffee to make it a home for later. Also, don't forget to check out the library that they have literally on the other side of the coffee shop.
I think we mentioned in the last video about how important coffee culture is to Italy, but this might be a bit controversial, but I did read online that Trieste is known as the coffee capital of Italy. So I don't know, I think we might have some angry people from Naples or Sicily in the comments. Don't know, don't kill the messenger. I'm just letting you know what I read online, and these were Italian articles. So you will see a lot of different coffee spots all over, hidden all over. And the coffee here, I think, is very strong. Like I would compare it to the coffee we had in Naples so far.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, it's very like, it's got that punch, especially whatever you had. When I tried it, that was really strong.
After all the coffee, we decided to explore the city some more, take pictures, and really embrace the architecture and see what else we could find. Kinda get lost. That's one of our favorite things to do when traveling to a pretty new city.
So of course, like every city in this area, they've got a canal, just like Venice. This one is non-cleverly named the Grand Canal. So if you don't want to go to Venice because it's out of the way, it's too expensive, it's too touristy, it's really, really touristy, you can get little bits of Venice all over Friuli. I mean, we've said this before with Treviso and cities like this, but yeah, you can get little sprinkles of Venice anywhere you go in this region.
As you keep wandering around Trieste, you'll definitely notice a lot of Roman ruins scattered throughout the city, such as this Roman theater from the 1st century.
Like, I never know how to stand. So not to be too much like a tour guide, but I definitely think Trieste has a good, what's the word I'm thinking?
Sure.
Yeah, like a good mixture of a lot of things you would want to see in Italy without a lot of the crowds. But behind me is actually a Roman theater that was built back in the 1st century, which is pretty cool, and you can just walk by and see it.
Yeah, I think it said that it used to seat 6,000 people. I'm guessing the people at that time were a lot smaller than they are today.
They didn't have Mickey D's.
Because I don't know if that thing can fit 600 people.
But yeah, I think Trieste is definitely very underrated, and I hate the word gem, but I'm going to use it in this sentence. It is definitely, I think, one of those hidden gems of touristy places. And as we were walking around, honestly, I think I heard more German spoken here than Italian at this point. So it feels like all of Austria and Germany are here right now visiting. Can you imagine your balcony's right there and you're just looking down, having coffee in Roman ruins?
Yeah, I wonder if those kinds of apartments are cheaper or more expensive because you're sitting in front of this.
It's pretty cool. I mean, this would cost an arm and a leg in Rome.
In the true Italian fashion, it wouldn't be traveling around Italy without climbing probably 20 to 30 flights of stairs. But it's definitely worth it. Look at the views. And much less tourists. When we say bring good shoes, we definitely mean it.
Hey Vern, how old do you think this road is?
Knowing Italy, probably as old as Jesus.
We are literally walking on like a 45-degree slant. I don't know how these cars are parked here. The stabilizer and the camera does a good job. But I think when we tell you guys, wear good shoes, I think that's the nicest way of putting it. Also walking, we're still walking up the hill to see the church.
Driving in the city can be a little tricky, pro level at least. But it's definitely very easy to navigate and get around on foot.
I love exploring all the different churches and monuments and stuff in Italy, but boy, do they make you work for it.
Yeah, the road up here, the guy who built this road is probably the last one he ever built, and he was probably like protesting his boss or something, because this is easily the most, this feels like it's uneven on purpose. It doesn't even feel like it just fell apart, it's just uneven on purpose.
I honestly think the road in Pompeii was better than this. Because it's so crazy. We just saw a motorcycle there, and Vern is like, can you imagine driving on this road in a motorcycle? It's like, I think you need to have a mouth guard. It's like your teeth would just...
Everything, your hands, your legs, everything would just fall apart.
On top of the hill of San Giusto in the heart of Trieste, you can see beautiful panoramic views of the city and the sea. This area is characterized by its rich history, combines Roman remnants, including an ancient forum and a basilica, with a medieval structure. The cathedral itself is a beautiful blend of Romanesque and Gothic architecture. It is known for its intricate mosaics that date back to the 12th and the 13th century. This historic hilltop is not only a religious site, but it's also a cultural symbol of Trieste, reflecting centuries of architectural and artistic heritage.
It always feels wrong to me walking along just among the ruins, because it feels like we shouldn't be walking in this, but it's just like an open air museum you can check out. They have the castle. If you have extra time, you can go inside. It's only €6, but we're just gonna go check out the church right next to it. But yeah, this is open to the public. You can just walk along the Roman ruins. Like, what do you think? We're literally living, I think Italy is like a giant museum.
Yeah, Rome definitely has stuff like this too. Obviously, that's kind of what it's famous for, but there are a lot less tourists here, and it's really warm out today, so this is like the perfect day to explore. It's
much cheaper, less tourists, and I think there's actually even more to see, because you're still in Italy, but you can go to Austria, you can go to Slovenia, you can go to Croatia, you can jump on a ship. So, I mean, I think this is like a great underrated little gem of a location.
After all the exploring and essentially hiking, we decided it was time to go find some good goulash. And of course, we had to hike down all the stairs from the other side, but at least the views were beautiful.
If I have any things that frustrate me about Italy, it's this. When you go to a restaurant and you have a reservation, let's say for 2 o'clock, but somebody else comes in to eat at what, 12, they will keep that table open for you the whole time. And Vernon and I, we usually get done eating within an hour. We don't spend too much time. And we just went to the restaurant because we really wanted to try this restaurant. And I'm not kidding, 3/4 of the restaurant was empty. And there was no people around, nobody else around. And the guy's like, oh yeah, there's no space. I'm just like...
It's weird, right? Because it's kind of surreal. It's almost like they're holding tables for ghosts.
Yeah.
Because you look at all the tables both inside and outside of the restaurant, and there's, like she said, there's nobody sitting at them. And they might show up in an hour, hour and a half. But for some reason, they're not willing to fill the tables until then.
Yeah.
Other places we've found some places once in a while where they'll say, hey, just so you know, there's people coming in an hour and a half. You know, if you could finish up by then, no problem. But I guess they're just assuming that Italians are going to sit at the tables for like 3 hours. So they're not even willing to book the tables. I guess they just want to lose out on that money. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're coming in the second half of the morning, and then the first half of the morning, the table will just be sitting there vacant. I'm just like, I can be in and out in an hour.
Yeah.
Like, let me just eat the goulash. One of the things I really want to show on our YouTube channel is kind of the reality of traveling. So the first restaurant we went to, we talked about, they were fully booked up. The second restaurant we tried to go to get good goulash apparently doesn't exist. So I swear, I think I'm like a pro Google editor at this point here, because I don't know if the restaurant's closed or where it is, but that's a Chinese restaurant now. So we came to a seafood pizza place. And I'm gonna get a pizza. It's not a very traditional thing to get here. So the thing you wanna get in Trieste is like goulash. You wanna get the cevapi.
Cevapcici, it's like a Croatian / Balkan kind of food.
Again, from the location, and again, we already had the strudel. So what we're having is not very traditional, but it's okay. You know, plans change. You gotta be flexible. Go with the flow. We're still enjoying the beautiful weather. We're by the Grand Canal. And I thought this was a Trieste beer, but it's not. It's actually from Treviso. So just our neighbor, but it's a really good Italian beer.
That pizza looks good, but it's gonna cost me a lot later. Vernon was fine, but for me it was a whole other story. I picked up some coffee and we went back to the car and we decided to head to our next destination. Driving here is a little tricky, but definitely worth the views. We headed to the Grotta Gigante to explore the biggest cave in Italy. Also, just a heads up, you have to climb down 500 steps pretty steeply to get into the cave. An interesting fact I learned is the temperature inside here is always 11 degrees Celsius. It doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. Here, it is always 11 Celsius. Don't forget to bring a jacket because that means it gets pretty cold down here, but in the summer, it will be probably very refreshing. So the Grotta Gigante is the largest tourist cave in Italy, and it felt like stepping into a whole other world. This massive cavern is so huge that it could fit an entire cathedral inside. As we walked along the pathway surrounded by the stunning stalactites and stalagmites, we were blown away to think how nature has sculpted this underground masterpiece over millions of years. So I'm not sure what happened midway through walking through the caves, but I started to feel like shit. And not to go into any crazy detail, we had to cut the trip a little short and not go explore the castle because I just did not feel well at all. And I was a bit disappointed, but you gotta listen to your body and how you're feeling. So unfortunately, we did not go see the castle that day, and I was very, very disappointed. And of course, the 3 days following that trip, the weather in Italy has been just total garbage. So we will definitely be featuring that castle in one of the other videos when we go exploring Friuli. I'm not sure what caused me to feel so unwell. I have a suspicion it was probably the pizza that I had for lunch. We were so hungry at that point. Honestly, I probably could have eaten anything, but this is my fault for going to a super touristy place and just ordering a pizza for lunch. Usually pizza for lunch in Italy is not a no-no because the oven doesn't get hot enough unless it's Naples. Naples always has good pizza. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the pizza caused some sort of imbalance in my stomach. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I was feeling so unwell, we didn't even do an outro again. We definitely need to get better on that, but I hope you enjoyed today's video and you definitely stay and subscribe for future Italy adventures. Ciao!